Have you ever noticed how your mind won't let go of certain things, checking your phone and wondering why they haven't replied yet? Stressing about how something might turn out, trying to predict what someone else is thinking. Let me ask you something. How many times did you replay a conversation in your head? How many times did you check whether someone liked your post on social media? How many times did you think, if this doesn't go the way I planned, everything falls apart? Most people don't realize this, but much of their anxiety isn't coming from what's happening around them. It's coming from what they're trying to control. That tension you feel, that tightness in your chest, that constant mental noise, that pressure to control everything and make things go a certain way, that's attachment. We're taught that holding on makes us powerful, holding on to people, holding on to expectations, holding on to control. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The tighter you grip, the more powerless you feel. Because every time you try to control someone, you hand them the power to disturb you. If they respond the way I want, I'll feel okay. If this works out, I'll finally relax. If they change, I'll be at peace. Do you see the pattern? Your peace becomes conditional. You were taught that control equals security, that if you manage every detail, anticipate every reaction, protect every outcome, you'll finally feel safe. But what if the opposite is true? What if the constant need to control is exactly what's stealing your inner peace? Many times, letting go feels like losing control. It feels like loosening your grip. It can even feel like defeat. And that's why most people resist it. Because control feels safer, it feels active, it feels powerful. But what if letting go is actually the most powerful move you can make? What if non-attachment isn't about losing something, but about regaining clarity, regaining stability, regaining your power? There is a form of strength that doesn't come from gripping harder. It comes from detachment, from acceptance, from surrender, from understanding that peace isn't found in controlling the world, but in mastering your response to it. And once you truly understand that, the anxiety that used to control you loses its power. So what does detachment really mean? It doesn't mean becoming cold. It doesn't mean withdrawing. It doesn't mean you stop caring. Detachment is emotional intelligence in motion. It's the ability to feel deeply without being ruled by what you feel. It's not about suppressing emotions. It's about holding them with awareness without letting them take control. Think of it like watching a cloud pass in the sky without feeling the need to chase it or hold on to it. Most people won't admit it, but much of their stress comes from trying to control others. When someone believes their partner must change, their boss must recognize them, or their friends must behave the right way, it may look like care, but underneath, it's attachment. And attachment without awareness quietly steals your peace. The tighter the grip, the heavier the stress, and suddenly, mental clarity disappears. Think about something simple. You send a message, 10 minutes pass, no reply. Your chest tightens, your mind starts spinning stories. Did I say something wrong? Are they ghosting me? Energy drains, anxiety rises, mental clarity disappears. But pause for a moment. What was actually within your control? Only one thing: sending the message. That's it. And in that moment, letting go sounds like this: I've done my part. The rest is out of my hands. Trying to control others is like trying to control the weather, exhausting and pointless. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop sacrificing your inner peace for something you were never meant to manage. The irony is this: the more you try to control people and outcomes, the more powerless you feel. But when detachment begins to take root, something shifts. Your energy returns, your thinking sharpens, and a deeper question starts to rise. If trying to control others leads to suffering, what is truly within your control? Once you realize that trying to control other people drains your energy, the next step is learning to separate what's internal from what's external. It sounds simple, but it's a profound change in your perspective. Your thoughts, your reactions, your choices, that's your part. That's what you control. Other people's opinions, their timing, their behavior, that isn't. And the moment you draw that line, clarity begins. Imagine being criticized at work. One person replays the comment for days, turning it over and over in their mind, slowly losing their calm. Another person pauses and asks, "Is there something useful here?" That pause protects your peace. It strengthens your clarity. It creates space, the space between what happens and how you respond. And that space expands the moment you realize something important. You control your interpretation, not the event itself. Non-attachment doesn't remove responsibility, it refines it. Here's a simple exercise. At the end of the day, divide a page in two. On the left, write, what was outside my control? On the right, write, how did I respond? That's how acceptance becomes practical. That's how surrender becomes strength. That's how letting go gives you your power back. And once you understand this, something inside begins to shift. The anxiety from trying to control everything doesn't control you anymore. The mental noise quiets. Peace no longer feels so fragile. Detachment stops being a concept and becomes a practice. And then something even more powerful happens. You stop trying to manage the world and start mastering yourself. You respond instead of reacting. You choose instead of chasing. And for the first time, your stability doesn't depend on anyone else because you've accepted what is and surrendered the need to control it. Acceptance and surrender aren't signs of weakness, they're signs of wisdom. Surrender, in this sense, means releasing the illusion that you must control every perception, every outcome, every emotion. Non-attachment allows you to feel deeply without drowning in reaction. And once you taste that kind of inner peace, you start to realize that most of your anxiety isn't about what happened, it's about what might happen. And that's usually where suffering begins. In those moments, acceptance becomes your anchor, recognizing that others have their own timing, their own wounds, their own perspectives. And surrender means letting go of the illusion that peace comes from control. There comes a moment when detachment stops feeling like an effort and starts feeling like freedom. When you stop tying your inner peace to outcomes and external validation, something profound shifts. Success feels good, but it doesn't define you. Failure teaches you, but it doesn't break you. Non-attachment creates a steady center, a place inside you that doesn't rise and fall with every external wave. Think about a job interview. One person walks in thinking, I must get this, or everything falls apart. Another walks in thinking, I'll give my best. Whatever happens, I'll learn. Same situation, completely different emotional state. Letting go of the outcome doesn't reduce effort, it removes desperation, and desperation is what destroys inner peace. The more you practice non-attachment, the lighter you feel. You stop over-explaining yourself, you stop chasing validation, you stop replaying conversations at 2 a.m. Acceptance becomes your anchor. This happened. What's my next move? Surrender stops feeling scary and starts feeling empowering. It's not giving up control, it's giving up the illusion that control is what keeps you safe and at peace. And when your inner peace isn't tied to outcomes anymore, you become steady, even when life isn't. Now here's the nuance most people miss. Detachment isn't emotional coldness, and it's definitely not abandonment. A detached person doesn't stop loving. They just stop clinging. They care deeply, but their inner peace isn't held hostage by someone else's behavior. That's what real emotional independence looks like. Imagine being in a relationship. Controlling attachment says, you need to reassure me. You need to respond the way I expect. You need to behave in a way that makes me feel secure. Healthy detachment says, I care about you. I value you. But my stability isn't dependent on your every mood or reaction. See the difference? One demands control, the other creates space. Letting go here isn't distance, it's grounded trust. And here's the paradox. When you stop clinging, relationships often improve. Conversations become lighter, respect increases, inner peace becomes contagious. The person who embodies detachment doesn't withdraw from life, they engage with it wisely. And when someone truly understands that balance between caring and controlling, their center becomes unshakable. If there's one thing to remember, it's this. Detachment is not about losing connection. It's about reclaiming your power. What would change in your life if you practiced non-attachment this week? What if you chose to let go instead of replaying that conversation? What if you chose acceptance instead of resistance? What if you chose surrender instead of anxiety? Imagine the mental clarity that would open up. Imagine the inner peace you've been chasing finally becoming real. Emotional independence isn't built in theory. It's built in small, everyday choices. The next time you feel triggered, pause. Ask yourself, is this within my control or am I clinging? That single question can shift your entire emotional state. And that's how detachment becomes easier to practice. So let me ask you something. Where in your life are you holding on too tightly? Replaying a conversation in your head from yesterday? Waiting for someone to text back? Stressing about something that hasn't even happened yet? What would happen if you loosened your grip? Just a little. A lot of people will hear this and go right back to chasing control tomorrow. But you don't have to be one of them. Choose differently. Pause. Practice it. Live it. There's a better way to live, and you deserve it. If you're ready to build real inner strength and reclaim your power, subscribe and turn on notifications. That's what this channel is here for. Emotional freedom is built, not found. And this is where it begins.